Welcome. My name is Benjamin Carlo. I'm glad to have you here. And I want to assure you that you have taken a bold step, a decisive step towards realizing your goal of getting married. Over the next few minutes, I want us to have a very honest conversation about relationships, singleness, and marriage. If you are here, it is probably because of one of two reasons. Either you're single and trying to understand why finding the right marriage partner has been difficult, or you want to understand relationships better so you can make wiser decisions or help someone else to make better decisions. Either way, you are in the right place. Today, I want to show you three things. First, why many people keep repeating the same relationship problems. Second, why most of the advice people receive does not actually solve the problem of getting married or the issues they're having in relationship. And third, what really changes the outcome. I'll show you these three things in a moment. This conversation may challenge some of your current beliefs, but if you stay with me to the end, I believe you will understand your relationship history more clearly than ever before. But before we continue, let me ask you something. Why do you think you are still single? Think about that well. And if you already have an answer in your mind, type it in the comment section. Now, most people usually give one of three answers when you ask this question. And honestly, those answers are usually not the real reason. Some persons will say the right person has not come. Many people say this. Others will say the timing has not worked out. And then a third group of persons will say the good ones are scarce. These answers sound reasonable, but they are usually not the real issue. Here is the uncomfortable truth. If your last few relationships or situations ended in very similar ways, then you are probably not dealing with bad luck. You are dealing with something different. You are dealing with a pattern. And until that pattern changes, the outcome usually stays the same. It will always be different persons. You meet one today, another next year, another next month, but the same outcome. It failed. It didn't work. This is the conversation most people are not having. They're not having the discussion in their families. They're not having it in their churches, and they're not having it among friends. But that is what we'll discuss this evening. Let me give you a simple exercise. Think about the last three people you were seriously emotionally involved with, not casually interested in. Real emotional involvement, the ones you were actually thinking of seriously. Now ask yourself, how did each one end? What kept going wrong? What did you keep feeling before things finally broke down? If you are honest, you will notice something. The names were different, for sure. The stories were different, that's correct. But the pattern was very similar. Look at what the patterns usually are for many persons. For some people, it's something like the relationship starts very strongly, then suddenly it fades. For some others, they keep attracting emotionally unavailable people. The person is present, he is there, but emotionally, where it really counts, you don't see him or her. For some others, everything looks good on the outside, but something always feels wrong inside. I'm sure you will identify with one or more of these. But that is not coincidence. That is a pattern. This pattern is data. It is available data to you to work with. But most people do not study their relationship history properly. They don't see this as data. They only tell stories about it. They give the stories like he did this, she said that, it just didn't work. Those are explanations. They may be correct, but the fact is, explanations alone do not change outcomes. I repeat, explanations alone do not change outcomes. Patterns are what changes outcomes. This is not about blaming yourself. This is about understanding yourself. Because once you understand the pattern, you can begin to change it. Pattern is not like bad luck. Pattern can be fixed. It can be changed so that it can give you the needed outcome. The pattern usually shows up in 3 places: what you are attracted to, what you ignore, and what you continue to tolerate. Sometimes the warning signs were always there, but emotions made you overlook them. That is not weakness. It is a pattern, and patterns can change. Now, let's look at the second thing we were supposed to discuss today. Why everything you tried hasn't worked. The advice you've been given, the steps you've taken, the effort you've made, why have they not worked? Now, let's discuss something important. Most people did not get here because they were careless. I mean, most people are not single till today because they are careless. Or neither is it any fault on their part. No, it's not their fault. They did not do anything wrong. They are not careless, but they are single. Why? Because they actually followed advice. Good advice, well-meaning advice. But the problem is, most of the advice was incomplete. Let's look at some of those advice. The first, wait and pray. Yes, prayer matters, but prayer without action changes very little. There's only a little thing that prayer can change if you do not pair it with action. For example, if your environment does not change, if your habits never change, if the kind of people around you never change, then your outcome may not change. You cannot keep staying in the same place and expect a completely different result. You cannot pray to have a result from a room you have not entered. You have to enter the room first and then pray for a good outcome. So that advice, wait and pray. While it is good, it is incomplete. You must pair it with action if you want a different result. The second advice that people have received that have made their situation not to change or work out better is this: be a good person and it will happen. Yeah. Well, being a good person matters, but goodness alone is not enough. Goodness does not automatically solve problem of visibility, compatibility, or wise selection. There are good people who are still single, and there are good people who still choose wrongly. So goodness is important, but it is not a complete strategy. You must be good, then make yourself visible. You must be good, then make the selection right. So goodness is good, but it is a foundation. It is not a complete strategy. The third advice we are discussing is, when it is right, you will know. Maybe this is one of the most dangerous ideas people believe. because it teaches people to trust feelings alone. But many wrong relationships felt right in the beginning. The chemistry is not the same thing as compatibility. Strong emotions do not always mean wise decisions, and many people only realize that after becoming deeply attached. So, yes, trust your feeling, but do not use feelings as a basis for your decisions. Feelings alone are not a good decision maker. It's not a decision making tool. Do not rely on feeling alone. Let me pause for a moment because this is a very important thing. You have probably experienced this before. Something starts with excitement, you become hopeful, you begin to imagine a future. Then slowly, things begin to break down again. And eventually, you are left asking, what happened this time? After all, you prayed, you tried to be patient, you worked on yourself, you stayed longer than you should have, hoping that things would get better. You hoped things would improve, and still, it did not. The outcome remained different person, same outcome. It did not work. It starts well, then confusion appears, or emotional distance, or inconsistency, or something simply feels wrong. And after a while, you begin to question yourself. You begin to think, maybe I'm too picky, maybe I'm not picky enough. Or you begin to think, maybe there's something you are not doing well. But hear me clearly. You did not fail. The process failed you. Because nobody gave you a proper system. You were given values. You were told to be good. You were told to be a good person, to wait, to be patient, to pray. Those are good values. But you were not given a method. You ask to be patient and wait. Yes, that is good. But waiting is not a strategy to getting married. You were told to rely on your feeling. Yes, but feelings are not a reliable decision-making system. And simply being a good person does not guarantee wise relationship choices. That is what we have said. Now let's look at three important truths. Let us summarize what we have said in three important truths. Truth number one, you kept getting similar outcomes because a pattern was repeating. There's a pattern. Remember the patterns we discussed. It is always repeating. And as long as that pattern remains, the outcome, the result will not change. The second truth we have mentioned is that most of the advice you followed are incomplete. Therefore, they are not a good strategy to give you a different result. And number three, nobody gave you a structured system for making wise relationship decisions. And without a system, the patterns will repeat. So you did not fail. What only happened is that you were either given incomplete advice or you were not given a system, a structured system to make wise decisions. But that ends today. All of those patterns that does not give you different results ends today. Because the real cost is huge. The real cost is not only the heartbreak you feel, the real cost is the years you spend inside a process that was never designed to produce the outcome you wanted. But I repeat, that can change. If any part of this describe your experience, type pattern in the comment section. If what we have said describe a situation you've been through or are going through now in any way, type pattern in the comment section. Remember the three things I said I was going to show you in this discussion. We have treated two. The first was why many people keep repeating the same relationship problems. And we said it is not bad luck, but it is a pattern. And that the pattern shows in what you are attracted to, in what you ignore, and in what you continue to tolerate. The second thing was why most of the advice people receive does not actually solve the problem. And we said many of those advice are incomplete and they are not strategies, they are not systems. So you did not fail, but you have been working in a system that was never designed to give you your goal. That is why most people, they receive the advice, they do their best, they act on what they have been told, but they do not solve their problems. Now, we're going over to the third one. What really changes the outcome? So now, what actually changes the outcome? What brings about the changes that you want? Well, to be serious, motivation speeches don't do that. You need more than motivation. What you need is a system, a practical system that has been tested. That is all you need to get married, to get the right person, to choose right. You need a structured process, a system that helps you to understand yourself better, make wiser decisions, and recognize problems early. And that is exactly what the right partner system was created to do. Right? Yes, the English word right, but it means something different. The letters R.I.G.H.T all stand for something. The system focuses on 5 major areas that strongly affect relationship outcomes. I call it the right framework, R-I-G-H-T. Let me tell you what these letters mean. First is R, and it means readiness. It asks you, are you truly prepared for the kind of relationship and marriage you say you want? Many people want companionship, but they are not emotionally prepared for commitment, and that affects their decisions. We're going to discuss that. The next letter is I, and it means identity. You see, your identity is very important. Who you are affects who you are attracted to. Yes. And who you are affects who is attracted to you. When identity is unclear, relationship choices also become unclear. Now, the next letter is G, and G means ground. Ground here is the environment. Your environment matters. Who you meet is strongly connected to where you spend your time, how you socialize, and the kind of spaces you keep entering. If your environment never changes, your options may never change either. If you have been attending the same church for 15 years, you have been in the same work area, in the same work for 10 years, you have been living in the same neighborhood for since you were born, you do not expect anything different. No change will come. You already know everybody. Everybody knows you. So there's no magic they are going to do. You need to expand your environment so that you meet different persons and different persons will meet you. We'll discuss that under G for ground. The next letter is H, and that is for habits. It means habit. Your communication habits, your emotional habits, your decision-making habits, all of this affects your relationship. Good habits build healthy outcomes. Bad habits slowly damage them. T means testing. How do you evaluate people? What do you look for? What questions do you ask? What warning signs do you ignore? Many people enter serious relationships without any proper evaluation process. That is dangerous. So all of this work together to help you get your desired outcome. And if even one of these areas is seriously weak, relationship problems will continue repeating. That is what the right system helps correct to avoid those problems being repeated and to help you realize the result that you desire. It will interest you to know that this entire system, this whole system, the right partner system, is housed inside the book. And the name of the book is Single, Find Love the Right Way, a practical system for Africans seeking the right marriage partner. At this point, you probably understand yourself more clearly. You may even recognize your pattern now, but clarity alone is not enough. Knowing the problem is not the same thing as solving it. If nothing changes, the same pattern may continue. Different persons, same outcome. But I tell you, it does not have to stay that way. That is why I created the right partner system, a complete relationship decision system taught inside the book, Single, Find Love the Right Way. This system helps you to, one, understand your relationship patterns. Two, stop repeating unhealthy choices. Three, recognize warning signs earlier. Four, position yourself better. And five, make wiser marriage decisions. This is not just inspiration, it is a practical process. And to help you implement this system, we have provided additional tools in addition to the main system housed in that book. We provided additional tools to help you implement what you learn. The first one is this personal pattern diagnosis. This helps you clearly identify your relationship pattern so you can stop guessing. The second tool is 30-day reset plan. It is a step-by-step process to help you break unhealthy emotional habits and make calmer decisions. And then we have the third tool, a guide showing you what to ask early in a relationship and what certain answers may reveal. Then we have the fourth tool, red flags and blind spots guide. It is to help you identify warning signs most people ignore until it becomes painful. We also have the fifth tool, which is positioning guide. It shows you how to position yourself better and enter healthier relationships environments. Then the sixth one is perhaps the most important, the right way circle. It gives you access to a private community focused on wiser relationship decisions and growth. So this is no longer just a book. It is a complete relationship decision system. And there are two ways you can access it. The first option is the basic package. It includes the complete book and the personal pattern diagnosis tool. This is available for a small fee of 3,900 naira or the equivalent in your currency. The second option is a complete system. It includes everything in the basic package and all the bonuses, all the other tools that will help you implement the system. And then it also gives you the access to the private right way circle. This is available for just 7,900 naira or the equivalent in your currency that is shown on the screen. If you are serious about changing your relationship outcomes, not just understanding them, I strongly recommend that you get a complete system. Why? You get the system inside the book. You get all the 5 tools that will help you implement that. And then you get the 6th tool, which is the right way circle. That will hold you by the hand and walk you through the process in the midst of others who are pursuing the same thing you are pursuing until you get what you want. I know at this point you will have a lot of questions you want to ask, but let me answer the ones I already have here. What makes this system different? Where most relationship advice focuses mainly on emotions or motivation, but this system focuses on structure. It helps you understand your patterns, your decisions, and the mistakes that keep repeating. This is not just be patient, pray more, or wait for the right person. No. It is a practical system for making wiser relationship decisions. Second question. Does this guarantee marriage? To be honest with you, no honest system can guarantee marriage. But this system can help you make wiser decisions, identify unhealthy patterns earlier, avoid repeated mistakes, and improve your chances of building a healthier relationship. The goal is not perfection. The goal is better decisions and healthier outcomes. You see, it is difficult for anybody to promise you a guaranteed marriage for any space of time, because marriage involves two persons, not just you alone. You must be ready. The next person must also be ready. You must meet. So what we are doing is to help you improve your chances of getting that person and working with him or her through the process until you get married. Another question here. Why is it affordable? Well, it is affordable. I'll agree with you. It's deliberate. I made it so because I want it to remain accessible. Many people are already paying emotionally through heartbreak, confusion, emotional exhaustion, and wasted years. I did not want cost to become another barrier to getting the right process to solve the problem. Next question. How do I know this applies to me? If you keep experiencing repeated disappointments, confusion, emotionally draining relationships, unhealthy patterns, or the same emotional outcome with different people, then this likely applies to you. What happens if I ignore this? Usually the pattern continues. Different person, same outcome. Patterns only change when decisions change, and decisions improve when understanding improves. If you are serious about changing your relationship history, not just understanding it, but truly changing it, this is your next step. The link to get the system is below this video. It is at the description, on the caption, and the comment section. Take your time. Read through it carefully, but do not ignore what you recognize about yourself today. Because patterns do not disappear on their own. They change when decisions change. Before you go, I want to ask you one final question. What part of this conversation spoke to you the most? What part felt most familiar to your own experience? Tell me in the comment section. I would really like to hear from you. Thank you for spending this time with me. And remember, you are not doomed to repeat unhealthy patterns forever. Better decisions are possible. Healthier relationships are possible. And wiser marriage choices are possible. I will see you inside the right partner system.